they're going to try like force 5v5s, probably need dragons early, whereas the side of Frank probably more going to prefer that 4-1.
Yeah, it does feel like Frank, they are playing towards that Fiora win com, and they do have a lot of disengage tools available for when Impunity wants to try and shut the Fiora down. Especially, having that Nautilus into the Rakan to try and dissuade any engage from the quickness Grand Entrance combo. To see if Impunity can find some, some creative flanks, especially with Maokai, or Alex on the Maokai, can create a lot of zone control with that. Force Frank into a tough position later on, but who do you think wins out in the early game?
Ooh, I want to say maybe I think skirmishes go the way of Frank, like especially on their top side, it looks really, really strong, but you would kind of think that Impunity's lane, especially mid and top, do have some pressure early. Although, it kind of depends, I guess, maybe if Fiora leeches or not. Looks like she won't. Fiora doesn't really like to leech, likes to start in the lane and kind of get stuff going early. Maybe bot lane goes the way of Frank, though. They got this Nautilus versus Rakan. They are starting in lane.
Yeah.
There's points of pressure, I think, all across the map for both teams.
I think it makes sense for Atlan and Nature to leash, because realistically, I don't think they're going to be able to get Pyro on the spot lane anyway. Side Nautilus, even at level 1, is just so scary. And Eminem and Kaiwing really already trying to push Impunity away from the minions.
Oh, hook comes out.
Come out with the hook. Bone plating gets popped to the side of Nature. Eminem dishing out a little bit of damage. Atlan responding with some of his own, but Frank, I'd say, coming out a little bit on top and continuing to assert their dominance, especially with that Guardian being down now as well, makes Impunity a lot more susceptible to future hooks.
And take a look at top lane. Driver is chunked out very significantly here by Solokill. It's a shame that Sejuani will not be on that side of the map. There won't be any punish, but definitely good signs here in that early game. You kind of do expect Fiora to bully the 1v1, but normally can't really get anything done with it until she gets a couple items. It's just going to be kind of pressure in the side, having priority, maybe a CS lead. Big wave crashing, and I think Driver should be able to grab most of this. Obviously, Fiora won't be tower diving just yet. I think diving Cassandra in general is very, very tough. And take a look at mid, though. His mission, he's building himself up a reasonable lead. Oh, does he get all of them?
Cannon.
He gets them all, but he does miss the cannon.
Unfortunate. Doesn't quite pick that one up with his auto. Oh, dude. 18 to 17 CS. That's rough. I think it's a dub for Impunity.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Now, Mission is a little scared, I think, of Jungle Gang. He was kind of respecting on that window, waiting for Alex to enter the top side, but hasn't dropped himself a ward and might face check Hollow here.
Hollow's here. Mission is in trouble. Probably going to be forced to flash here. Hollow drops the stun. Mission actually holding onto his flash very wisely, seeing that Pretender is low on mana.
It did have his jungler in the wings there, and they will get confirmation on Hollow. Now moving back towards that bot river, so most likely will just be those scuttles traded once again. As everything remains relatively even across the rift, despite health bars getting low. CS is about the same.
Eminem and Kaiwing wisely allowing this wave to push back into them, forcing Impunity into a tough situation. Alex rather is on his way to try and make sure that his bot lane are able to crash this wave.
Okay, so Pretender, he does base very early. He grabs the tier, also has himself the refillable. Most likely will be going the tier Catalyst build then, which we've kind of seen a few times, but some of the Gragas have opted for more early game. Ooh, hook goes into outer space.
Yeah, it went into the game 3. That was definitely very wide, but regardless, the pressure was exerted.
It was, and I hope we get a look at mid lane here, because it looks like Pretender has been able to freeze this wave, and Mission's going to have to TP back and maybe be a little bit vulnerable. Grabs himself some magic resist very early. It is that kind of double AP mid jungle that comes out from the side of Frank, and Alex probably has to go mid here and play for some sort of counter gank. He's just going to come around, set up a lot of vision, allow Mission to just make sure these waves do get crashed. As Hollow, it's going to sweep out the top side. Again, feels very, very difficult to dive Driver, but does just get confirmation, allows Solo Kill to continue to push on that top side for free. Maybe now looking to cross mid. Feels like they can't grab a kill, but maybe a flash could be burned.
Yeah, Pretender's looking for it, but Alex is in the area, able to prevent that engage from coming out from the side of Frank Esports. Both mid laners just trading out a bit of damage.
Yeah, so all things considered, game remains very, very even. Top laners now will go for their recalls. It is Sheen picked up by both sides. Definitely going to be a lot of heavy trading up there. And one thing I really want to look forward to this game is who ends up grabbing that first Herald, because it feels like when you have lanes like Fiora, when you have lanes like Jace, they can pressure plates, they can pressure towers, and they do very, very well with the gold. So if you can grab it, could accelerate the game a bit more than normal, you'd have to feel.
Definitely going to be looking towards that. Only in 2 minutes now. To assume that the supports are slowly going to start planning out their routes and their waves.
Ooh, trade coming out. Drivey does have many more creeps on his side, so should be winning the trade at least for now. This is going to crash, and if Solikill can grab these, should find himself at a slight CS lead here. Does get the cannon, most importantly. And Dragon is still available, although there's a ping onto, I think, from Hollow. He wants to start it up. I think they currently have that bot priority. Do need to be careful, though. Obviously, if they take too many fights early, wouldn't really be playing towards what their Fiora wants. On the other hand, if you can pick up a Dragon for free early, it means that you buy more time for that Fiora to scale on the top side, and you can kind of give up one of these 5v5 Dragons if you need to.
Yeah, especially the timing of this as well, right? Still over a minute before the Rift Herald spawns, which means they have plenty of time to get their resets off and still look to contest the Rift Herald if they want to.
But that is the first drag. That goes the way of Frank, but Alex is going to be able to take away a red buff, and with his current control over topside, might want to look towards that Herald when it spawns. He's just going to grab that there, and looks like he'll blast cone back to his own side. Have to see where Kaiwing pass out of base here. He's walking towards mid currently, which gives him a lot of options. Solikill has been getting kind of traded on heavily here. Does have Hollow behind him, though. Kaiwing is now pathing towards that top side, so it looks like he's going to go for some sort of play around mid or top. Oh, I don't believe... Or he might have been spotted out there.
I think just barely before Kaiwing was able to get into the bush. Mission does spot him out, and now Impunity have a lot more information to work with. Nature's opted to stay in his lane. Kaiwing looks like he's going to be making that long walk back to bot lane.
Yeah, we'll just go back down, and Eminem, to his credit, hasn't really fallen behind any off that roam. Is still even in CS and has a wave to catch. Trade comes out mid.
Nice job from Pretender interrupting that slam from Jace.
The Herald actually hasn't been looked at by anyone currently. Impunity do have a lot of wards up there, and maybe looking to take away another buff is Alex. Currently does have the bot priority. They're going to try make sure this goes, but will Frank? No, they're not going to get here in time, so another buff taken away. Definitely nice for Alex.
Yeah, he's getting revenge from last game after he got so many blue buffs taken away from him. Definitely is going to be a good look for Impunity in this early game. Alex just wreaking havoc across the map. Not so much in the lanes, but really just, building up a slow CS lead for himself.
I wonder now, does he look to start up that Herald?
Oh, wait, but lots of action on the bot side. Actually, first blood going the way of Eminem. Might actually find two here, flashes forward. One more auto does seal the deal for him. Ignite traded out from Nature for some reason, but double kill there for Eminem. Once again, getting accelerated nice and early on and on the Xayah.
I'm not sure how that happened, but
oh, look at the wave as well.
It's so important. Yeah, even if the Herald gets taken away, you get such a good trade on the bot side. That's just an amazing pickup for Eminem, who gets the Ghost out of Atlan, as well as 2 kills and a bunch of plates bot. And now,
I really want to see how that went down.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. It must have just been a hook onto the Rakan or something. Gale Force completed for Eminem.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be very far ahead. We'll get the source on how it went down here.
Ooh, Kaiwing has 6 here.
Yeah,
Nature
okay.
isn't. Yeah.
I guess they were just slightly 6 advantage.
Oh, wow.
Hook does connect onto Atlan. And he's just pretty much killed inside the CC. Nice preemptive flash there from Eminem with the Ghost as well. Can chase down. Also, nice juggling on the aggro. Kaiwing holds it up for a long, long time. Really well played there to the side of Frank. Although maybe Atlan shouldn't be getting hooked.
He has flash up as well. Like, I'm not too sure why he didn't choose to use it there. That was so telegraphed as well. Kaiwing literally just taking 3 seconds to walk up and find the angle for the hook. No response from the side of Impunity, and now Frank Esports almost 1k gold ahead. Gale Force completed, like you mentioned, for Eminem on the Xayah as well. Lots of things going right once again for Frank Esports in the early game.
Yeah, definitely have gotten exactly what they wanted. And now, where will this Herald end up going? Because that kind of feels like it closes off bot as a heraldable option. Really? Maybe it's just mid? Alternatively, could put it top, but it kind of feels like it just delays the inevitable up there. I mean, we'll have to see. Currently, Alex is in the bot side. Maybe
Hook actually connects, finds the root as well. Not going to be too much out coming out of that, but a little bit of damage traded over onto Atlan. Now Kaiming might actually be in trouble here. Alex is walking in. He does have Nature's Grasp available, but choosing not to use it for now. Hollow now in the area in response. He's only level 6 to Alex level 8 though.
Yeah, Alex has just been getting so many extra camps here. Took away both of those second busts, but couldn't force the play on bot. Kaiwing, he grabs another one.
Again, another hook. He's just hooking for poke at this point. Oh, Pretender though, looking onto mission. Oh, so many trades going on across the map. Driver looking onto Solokill. He's popped the ultimate. Has gone all out, but Solokill finds 2 vitals. Almost doesn't manage to find the third one. Now 1 hit away from death. Driver, can he find this third Q to seal the deal? Not quite. Solokill gonna live to see another day, and Driver trying his best to, claim some sort of advantage for Impunity, but just not quite enough.
No, not quite. And that was so close there. I think really abusing the fact that he has that mythic advantage. But now we'll be forced to reset. Mafia still doesn't have the mythic, has a lot more items. Bot lane. Looks like they're just going to lose another play in the 2v2. And you have to say, so far the series feels like Impunity's bot lane are just getting outlaned on the side of Frank.
Eminem and Kaibing really working wonders for Frank. Generating these leads by themselves. Oh man. Now the Cloud Drake is up for the taking. Both teams though not really looking towards it for now.
Yeah, we'll just be going for that reset as we'll get a replay of whatever happened top lane. The Driver, he is same level, but it has himself a pretty sizable health advantage. Also has that mythic completed, so is very strong. And I guess just if Solokill commits the dash.
Wow, that was a weird hitbox, but
yeah, definitely probably took him a bit further than Solokill was expecting. But a nice parry and also crucially dodged out every Q3 here. Oh, got very low there off the back
tense.
End. Yeah, he was really getting amongst it there. But does manage to get out, and looks like second drag goes the way of Frank, especially given how snowballed their bot lane is already. Feels like Impunity once again can't contest and kind of find themselves in a very similar place to the previous game where your lanes...
Alex, just channeling the Redfield right in front of 3 members of Frank Esports. I'm not too sure what he was thinking there, but it does spell death for him. Hollow picking up a nice freebie for himself.
Yeah, that was...
Maybe it was close to expiring or something, but even then, like... Come on, man.
I guess he didn't have he didn't have a lot of vision over the wall. Probably just wasn't expecting Kaiwing to be there as well. But even with the Gragasol, you kind of feel like you might have to flash straight after. But that's a big waste of the Herald, and that was really the one thing that Impunity had going for them in this early game. It was the Herald, and unfortunately just isn't used that well. Top lane still looking very dicey, but Hollow's up here. Driver.
Yeah, Driver goes all out once again, taking Silico into the back wall of top lane, but now tables have turned. He's on the run. Hollow is able to find this done very shortly, and Solokill, he's popped the ultimate as well. Does find some vitals for himself. Is going to be picking up a kill for himself on the Fiora too. Everyone just sharing the love. So much gold.
Really was. I think nice attempt by Driver there. Almost managed to pick up both of them in the 1v2, but unfortunately it is just Solokill who grabs him. We'll probably have his mythic off that as well. And things going from bad to worse here in the early game from Impunity. They look a little lost, honestly. Kind of just doesn't look like anything cohesive is really happening, right? Like they have priority mid. They have a jungler who's wanting to invade, but doesn't really lead to anything more than a couple buffs taken away from the Sejuani, who ultimately doesn't care too much.
Yeah, Hollow really just making use of opportunities presented to him by the laners who are just doing so well by themselves. Even Pretender in the mid lane just doing a great job of neutralizing Jace, just having a good time, drinking booze where he shouldn't be.
Rod of Ages now completed here for Pretender. It's pretty late, but honestly doesn't really matter. He doesn't need to be the star of this show, as Alan needs to be a little careful. He has nature around, but should be safe to pick up this wave. But look at the ADC item deficit. Feels so tough. And I think that you know, at least for Impunity this time, they can probably contest the third dragon a little easier than before. You know, before it really needed to make sure they hit their 2 item spikes. I think this time, while 2 items would definitely be nice, it's not as much a requirement as it was previously.
Ooh, Alan getting a good amount of damage onto Kaiwing.
It was nice damage traded back there, and Hook almost connects onto Atlan. I'll be interested to see whether or not Frank decide to bring solo kill down for this next drag, or if they're just going to commit to him trading even more in the side lane. I think just giving up a drag and having solo kill continue to push is probably the safer play, but you're so far ahead that you could probably just get everything you want, grab the third dragon, really put this game on a timer for the side of Impunity, who you kind of feel like they should be the ones stacking the dragons up against the Fiora.
Really looking rough for Impunity right now. Imtech Drake spawning in 1 minute 40 as Frank Esports looking to take down the first turret of the game. Even more gold going the way of Eminem. He might actually be able to hit. Oh my, 7.3k gold.
Yeah, he's up almost 2,000 gold here in what was almost exclusively a 2v2. It's an insane lead for them, and definitely looking like the Xayah is just too strong. Or maybe it's just Eminem is too strong. We're not too sure. Obviously, it's off the back of Kaiwing as well. Impunity do manage to pick up that second Herald and could drop it top here. Would be a nice gold injection back to them. And they need all the gold they can get if they want to contest this third drag.
Whereas for the side of Frank, it feels like they're almost at a point where they can just sit back and watch the show. Honestly, 2k gold ahead. Really, you know, still a sizable advantage, especially when you consider that most of that is on Eminem himself. He's almost got the Bloodthirster completed as well. I wonder if he'll be able to get that before the dragon spawns.
Well, mission though, I think might be. Oh my god,
what was
JC.
that? Actually, solo kill getting knocked back so far. Mission dodging out that ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Solo kill picks up that kill for himself. I respect that emote. That's a good one.
JC seemed more like Gragasol there, the way it played out, but got solo kill off him. Unfortunately, has the ghost and does manage to chase him down. With mission dead, he will be alive to TP to the drag, but that should mean that Frank have much better pressure around it and so accelerated already. We'll get a replay of what happened. So was solo kill, who was just in the bush, and pretending here as well, there really is just no way out.
That looks so silly.
Nice dodge there on the Gragasol, but unfortunately was just no way out.
Yeah, now the dragon very close to spawning. Neither team really has control of the river just yet, but Solika was just walking straight into lane. He's got the Sunray completed. Driver has the Bramble Vest, as well as the Eyes One in response, so still, I think, relatively even in that 1v1. Maybe a slight edge to solo kill.
Yeah, I think solo kill probably wins out eventually, but it does take a... Oh, hook comes out.
Kaiwing just goes straight for the hook, forcing out Nature's Grasp from Alex, and now Kaiwing getting looked on himself. Depth Charge finds Alan, dissuading any further DPS from him. Kaiwing actually finds the hook straight onto mission from the TP. Is going to get taken out in the nick of time, and now Eminem pops a Feather Storm. Nature doesn't really find much with his quickness, and that's another key ultimate expended. Impunity, they don't really have many options now if they're looking for a fight. And Frank Esports, they have a lot of space to play around with here.
Eminem's low though and is forced to reset. They can drop the Herald here, and I think if you're Impunity, you kind of have to make something happen sooner rather than later, because Mission this time is dead without TP. Won't be able to return to this fight. Maybe they can look to pick up this tier 1, but have to be careful. Cooldowns are missing. Now, it doesn't even look like they can get that. Yeah. And it feels like with Mission dead, this should even be the drag going the way of Frank, although Impunity currently the ones in the river, so this takes Frank some time. Time that Mission can use to get back here, but no, recall comes in from Alan, and this will be the third drag going the way of Frank.
Yeah, Impunity forced to back off. The Maokai saplings just aren't enough for them to retain control in the river. And it is going to be sole point for Frank Esports, with a 3k gold lead now as well. Before 20 minutes, Impunity rapidly running out of ways back into this game.
Does feel like that, and I think crucially, Xayah going for the BT second instead of the Navori is obviously a lower DPS option, but up against the Jace, feels like Xayah is now almost unkillable. There just isn't really enough damage. If you think of the likes of, you know, Cassante and the Maokai really are just, you know, maybe Cassante can get through, but with the BT, it makes it so hard. And I think really nice itemization there from Eminem. Knows that if they don't throw kind of like they did in the early stages of Game 1, feels like it should just be their game to close out.
Yeah, Frank definitely in a very comfortable position now. Baron is alive and ripe for the taking. Impunity, they have to make sure that they don't give this one over too early, but Frank once again looking to pick up the pace and force Impunity into an unwinnable situation.
And mid tower is going to get sieged up. There is no Herald. But Frank, they have more members here. Drivers in the top lane. They need to be careful under this tower. Nature's Grasp just to...
TP coming out as well. Quickness pop from Nature, but he isn't able to get close enough to find anyone. Does choose to go for Kaiwing. Does get knocked back by Driver as well, but I don't think there's enough damage there. There's just no DPs available. Now, Frankie's also responding with a TP of their own. Solo kill getting right into the thick of it. Driver taken down. Now Nature's a target. Stun doesn't quite connect from Hollow. And now Pretender Body Slam comes out and Alex forced to flash away. Impunity, they look for a play. They look for the TP, but Frank, they just turn around with one of their own.
They do, and things rapidly spinning out of control here for Impunity. That was TP invested from Driver, who was, very important that he stays ahead in the side. Otherwise, Solo Kill just going to take more and more from him. Now, down 7 kills, down 3 drags, and losing so much of the jungle CS as well. We're talking about how game 1 could have been a perfect game. Ultimately didn't end up being, but game 2 could be too.
Yeah, Frank really looking to redeem themselves in this game too. And honestly, to great success so far, they haven't really had any big slip-ups. And once again, Impunity, they're just not able to have quite enough coordination to pull that one off. It feels like there were potentially some opportunities there, but we saw Nature go in miles ahead of his team, and there was just not enough damage to follow up.
No, definitely wasn't as... I think this looks more like the Frank we kind of know and love, but on the side of Impunity does not look like the team that took PSG all the way to 5 games. If we're going to have to try and find some of what made them strong before, Nature, it's going to get forced out of this top side. And on the side of Frank, you could maybe just look to start up this Baron. Currently you have so much control. Do you really need to though? Probably not. You have a pretty sizable lead, and Solo Kill will slowly chip away at that side lane.
And it's just bouncing around on the blast cones in the jungle, really just making sure Impunity are too scared to walk in. And Frank, they're trying to maintain a line of vision here, not allow Impunity to have any information on what they're up to. Saplings will provide, some brief moments where they can try and understand what's going on, but other than that, definitely very much on the back foot. Frank, they could start up this Baron at any point.
Yeah, that was the last blue trinket just used, and I think Eminem could even just duo this with someone, either Hollow or Kaiwing, and they'd probably get it. Looks like they are just going to play it safe. They know that this 4th dragon is in just a couple minutes, and feels like there should be no way into this fight for the side of Impunity. Recalls will come in. I wonder, I don't think Eminem has a Navori, but maybe halfway there. Could even grab himself a stopwatch if he felt like it all comes down to this fight.
Yeah. Solo Kill as well. He has finished his Hydra too. We talked about how he seemed like the main centerpiece for Frank in winning this game, and while that doesn't seem like it might be the case this game, definitely always nice to have that Fiora insurance in your back pocket in case things get rough, kind of like they did last game.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, although
Kaiwing finds the hook onto Atlan, is going to follow that with the depth shot. Atlan forcing the flash out, dashing over the wall to safety, but another big summoner spell is going to be offline for the side of Impunity, and now Frank, they can do so much more.
Yeah, rough there, I think. Having no flash in Zeri makes her a lot more vulnerable. Pings are on this mid wave. I think Impunity know they have to try and get control of this before the dragon, otherwise are going to have such a hard time getting in here. Even with the control, might struggle to hold it as Solo Kill. He has a lot of priority over that bot side. Frank, they're maybe looking for something. Kaiwing has pretty much been using this hook on cooldown. You have to respect that.
Oh, Nature might get locked on here. Isn't able to find the dash away, but Alex now the target rooted up. Is going to get stunned down as well. Eminem dishing out so much damage. Alan pops a lightning crash. Nature popping his quickness off his own. Does flash out with just a little sliver of HP remaining, but now Solo Kill is here trying to clean up on the backside of this fight. Finds the vitals onto Driver. Dodges out that 3rd Q crucially. Could have spelled death for him. Meanwhile, Pretender finds the Solo Kill on the mission, but Frank, they're re-engaging on this. Alan's dishing out quite a lot of damage, but there's just not enough from the rest of his team to be able to find anything for Impunity.
No, and I think Impunity, they're just completely out of the game. I don't really see a way back in now with the Dragon Soul given away and at a sizable gold deficit. It kind of feels like they've run out of options.
Oh, Chemtech Soul as well.
Yeah, it feels so difficult for Impunity to come back, especially now that the flashes have been burned. We'll take a look, I guess at the topside fight. Now, I guess Gragas just has too much staying power at this point. Oh, was the flash trade that came out, but Slow comes in and Mission unfortunately just doesn't really deal enough damage. Maybe could have kited away with the phase rush. Was he running the whole time?
Doesn't even find this. Oh, explosive cast just as a mission turns around and Pretender. Wow, that shield is huge. Really just plays this one out to perfection. Gets that body slam as well. Just to, okay, that one was a bit unnecessary, but isn't gonna have the stopwatch for his next fight, but is building towards the Zhonya's gradually as well, and he's here to babysit Silico as well in the side lane to make sure Driver can't find anything to try and defend this turret. Finds the third Q actually. Silico dropped pretty low there. It is the Chemtech slow comfort zone though, and Driver as well forced to run away. Alex is here available to support, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, putting two members in the side lane like this definitely isn't very common, but I think here it kind of allows your Fiora to take some of those tier 2s just a little bit earlier. And Gragas doesn't really need to be in that top lane either, doesn't value the farm as highly as some of the other carries. Can just give it over to the Sedge, and obviously has done a pretty good job with keeping himself farmed up in this game. Is now probably going towards either the Zhonya's or the Cosmic, both of which are going to make him even more difficult to deal with.
Yeah, usually, you know, your well, Frank is just starting up the Baron. I'm going to hold that thought. Blue Trinket gets spotted out by the Blue Trinket. Alex is trying to make that hero's entrance to try and look for the steal, but he's in the middle of 4 now. Frankie Sports looking for the turnaround. Eminem actually might be in danger. Gale forces forwards, straight into the waiting arms of Driver. Pops a Featherstorm as well. Quickness finds 2. Lots going on here. It's going to be Eminem actually taken out. Driver finds a kill for himself, but Alex, though, not going to suffer. Not going to be quite as lucky. He is going to go down. Now Alan on the run. Doesn't have the flash available like we talked about earlier. Stun as he tries to get across the wall, and Solo Kill likely going to pick this one up. Actually, that was going to be Pretender with that Comet. He's on a rampage, and now Driver, where is he? He's gone back to base.
Yeah, and I think that should now be the Baron, and most likely the game going the way of Frank Esports. It was a nice attempt there from Impunity. You kind of feel like they have to do something like that. There really just isn't a way back into this game. Importantly, the perfect game is stopped there by Driver. They managed to kill Eminem. But they're really just too far behind to win fights at this point. I think, you know, you have to invest everything into killing this Xayah, who is just so tanky, and there is still so much damage that comes out after that, right? The Gragas and Fiora definitely like those longer team fights. We're going to replay of it here, and once they noticed that the Baron was going down, Alex actually got blast coned in. Was a nice engage from him, perhaps. Tried to go for it, actually bought himself a lot of time. But you can see here the Jace poke, it's completely tanked up. And Driver, he's the only one who can really deal with Eminem. Found himself in a pretty rough spot.
Ooh, actually though.
Yeah, the flash feather thing came through.
Blade Claw.
Blade Claw. I remember the name. Feather thing. But,
Feather thing.
Yeah. It was just, unfortunately, Eminem goes down, but the rest of Frank are too strong. And Alan, he tried to get out, was just stunned up. Unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I mean, Eminem actually played that fight, you know, a little bit poorly. Gale forcing straight into the Driver, but yeah, and forces him to pop the Featherstorm super early, but he just salvages it just with raw damage, really. Finding that Blade Cooler onto 2 with so many feathers at his disposal. And now Frank Esports with the Baron buff and the Chemtech Cell in their back pocket, looking to try and close this game out.
Now, credit to Atlan, actually put out a lot of damage in that team fight. Kind of just went under the radar because, honestly, no one was really dying, unfortunately, but is doing his best despite being down 10,000 gold here. Driver, he's trying to find some sort of engage.
Yeah, tries to protect that hook from Kaiwing, but doesn't quite find its mark. Frank actually having a bit of trouble getting damage onto these inhib turrets, but feels like they're not really going to rush either.
No, I'm just going to try and stall out for now as Impunity. 2 minutes on the Elder Dragon, though, which means they don't have much longer before they're going to be forced out of this base. Both towers are being chipped away, though, and feels like with a minute still on Baron, most likely the base will get broken. And how long can Impunity stand up to the side of Frank afterwards? Feels like not very long.
Yeah, Impunity even struggling to retain that little area outside of their base walls. Driver really just trying to muscle them off. Kaiwing actually is going to get caught and popped back with the all-out, but he's just full HP. There's no chance here for the side of Impunity. Frank doing so much damage. Eminem pretty much untouched in this fight. Alex gets stunned up. Body slam finds 2. Double kill now for Eminem. Moving forwards with the Featherstorm. Now Alan, the only surviving member for Impunity. Solo kill isn't quite going to be able to pick that one up. Eminem, though, finds it in the fountain. Quadra kill picked up for Eminem, and this is just going to be the game for Frank Esports.
Now, unfortunately, it was a bit of a shellacking here in game number 2. 30 minutes in, 18-1 is the score.
Man.
No towers, no dragons for the side of Impunity. And that's rough, right? Now, we have seen every series so far go to Game 5 between these PCS teams, so I'm hopeful that Impunity can bring it back, but man, Frank, they looked a lot better in that game, for sure.
Yeah, they didn't have really any missteps. The only one, if you're really nitpicking, is just Eminem playing around that Baron, but at that point, they were just so far ahead, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, pretty much, and that last fight especially did just feel like Frank kind of slapping them with their wallets almost, which is so far ahead. And nice little dance there out of Pretender. Don't often see the dances other than from Driver, but speaking of Driver, I think I'd like to see Impunity go back to the red side and just give Driver a good matchup, because it feels like Driver's been doing what he can in what is some pretty difficult matchups, while the rest of his team kind of falls apart around him. I guess credit to Atlan as well, who's been playing pretty solid on the Zeri, but honestly, maybe we just need a bigger performance from, the Impunity mid-jungle support, and it's not something that can just be solved to draft, right? Like, it is a gameplay thing as well, and unfortunately, in game number 2, the gameplay certainly favored the side of Frank. I would maybe say MVP to Kaiwing for that one. I think game 1, he was doing a lot of inting out.